Ladies and gentlemen, all rise and welcome to another exciting episode of The Devil's Due. Court is back in session. I am your host, Carl Duty. With me, as always, is a man who, when he is exposed to natural sunlight, his plasticky skin turns turquoise. Mr. Drew Celestino.
It's a disguise, you see.
Yeah, because I can't recognize you once you've turned turquoise.
Yeah. But ironically enough, the Devil's Due published G.I. Joe series. Devil's Due Publishing?
Yes.
Yeah. They continued the Marvel series. Well, not exactly. They did a G.I. Joe run in the early 2000s that, in my opinion, was dynamite. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And it was
a couple issues
kind of a continuation of the Marvel series, but also acknowledged the cartoon and the toys. And it was like a pop cultural memory sequel to G.I. Joe. And in it, the Joes were disbanded at the end of issue 155. And this was like the revival X amount of years down the road. And in that time, Zartan, it was revealed, had a debilitating skin condition. From his shape-shifting abilities or whatever, or his color changing or whatever it was. So he was in really bad shape, and they had to find a cure for him. And it was a cool little story arc. And he had a daughter, and it was neat. She too was a dreadnought.
Was he turquoise? Was that?
Yes, I think so.
That's awesome.
Anyway, fun fact.
Here we are back again, folks. Opening statements, sir. I think I kind of know how this is going to go. How was your week?
Well, it was great. It's great. Let's see. Before we get to the exciting stuff, I should point out that I watched a bunch of stuff on television this week. So I finished Glow Season 2. It's okay. It was all right. It's good.
I'm entertained by the show. That's really all I needed to be.
Like we said on the show last week, I like the fact that it's nice little 20-minute chunks that I can just kind of crush quickly.
Yes.
That lends itself to binge watching far more than something like Jessica Jones, for instance. Or Iron Fist, for that matter. But that won't be a problem anymore, which we'll get to.
Yes.
So that was good. I also watched that feature-length documentary on the Masters of the Universe.
Yes. What'd you think of it? The Power of Grayskull, I believe it's called.
Yeah, it was like a supersized episode of The Toys That Made Us.
Yeah.
A lot of the same guys that were there in the beginning.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They didn't quite tackle some of the early controversy the way the Toys That Made Us did, like who takes credit for what. Because Toys That Made Us kind of got into some of that, and there were guys that were beefing over who was claiming credit, but that's okay. Because, you got deep dives on designs and how they got to the concept and, neat stuff like that. And the thing that warmed my heart the most, though, was seeing Frank Langella talk about his time as Skeletor.
Glowingly. Right.
I like that. That was cool because, it's an easy, because the movie bombed and, and it wasn't quite what kids kind of wanted it to be.
Yeah.
But he was great in it and he really owned it. And it was great to see him talk about it and say how much it meant to him and how much he put into it and how much he really tried to make it great.
It's easily it might be number one. If I had to make a list of top 5 amazing performances in horrible films, it might be my number one.
He alone makes the movie almost worth watching.
Yeah,
just for his scenes, because he's excellent in that movie.
I think number 2 might be Christopher Reeve in Superman 4.
Superman 4 in general. Yeah, you're gonna need something redeeming in that film. Anyway, so that was cool. I watched that stuff before the weekend hit, and that was cool. Got some content buried. So that kind of, let me try to think if anything crucial happened after that. No, that's pretty much it. So then that brings me to the weekend, which was excellent. So Friday evening, I flew out to New York City and arrived kind of late, kind of about 10 p.m. Got a car by the time I was at my buddy's place. It was after 11:30. So Saturday, I gave my sister-in-law a whirlwind one-day tour of New York City as best as I possibly could.
Yeah.
Saw as much as we could in that amount of time, which mainly consisted of Battery Park, the financial district.
Yep. Times Square.
We actually did not go to Times Square.
Oh, okay.
Tried to avoid it, actually, because it was just like, this is kind of a circus. I don't know if I want to throw you into that deep water right now. So we kind of walked around the Lower East Side a bit. We got to see, I took her to see the Ghostbusters Firehouse, which is, obviously still there. And,
yeah.
Awesome that they acknowledge it with the painted mural on the grounds in front of it.
Still a functioning firehouse.
Sure is. Yep. Let's see what else we do. We walked around. Marched her all over. Saw Grand Central Station, obviously, which is that's a highlight. The library again from Ghostbusters. If you've ever been in there,
I've been there.
Yeah, the inside.
I've been there. I've had my picture taken running down the stairs.
Okay, I saw people taking pictures at the top of the stairs like they were like in Rocky, and I was just thinking, are you in Philadelphia? No, you're not.
No.
So yeah, it was weird. That library though was a sleeper trip to New York that no one really you might miss it if you don't think to go there. The inside is amazing. The murals and the woodwork and everything and the construction of that building is mind blowing. So that was cool. Took her to St. Patrick's Cathedral because that's also super cool to see. No matter what your faith might be, just as an architectural feat and stunningly beautiful church. So do recommend checking that out. And also, obviously, I had to go to the Nintendo World Store. And the Nintendo World Store was excellent, as it always is. Although, I must say, I was a little upset.
Okay.
Because at the Nintendo World Store, they have the upstairs portion, which there's a solid, let's call it third of the upstairs is reserved for museum-esque displays. And no, not this time. It's a rotating thing, so it changes. But this time it changed to a display of Nintendo Labo stuff, and then they had a great big Luigi's Mansion standee thing you could stand in front of and take your picture with.
That's
so
cool. Yeah,
but then so the museum air quoting portion was a probably about a good 7 foot tall by 5 foot wide ballpark glass case, front and back, two-sided, in the middle of the floor that just had one of each Nintendo console going back to the old 70s stuff and the Game & Watch and everything, all the way up to and including the Switch. That's fine, but that's not exactly the featured stuff I come for.
Deep cut stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I've been there when they've had like Metroid featured. That whole third I'm talking about was all Metroid stuff.
Yeah.
And like all Zelda stuff.
I believe
that was more exciting.
The last time I was there, I think the exhibit was the evolution of the Game Boy.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's a story unto itself. So anyway, that was slightly disappointing, but I did manage to find the only infant clothing in the whole store, which is saying something because there's a lot of clothing in that store.
Yeah.
If you gave me just a free-for-all blank check, I could come out with a full wardrobe of stuff. But I did find the only infant clothing they had. And I got Grant a little Mario onesie with a little Mario hat.
Nice.
So that's exciting. Then on Saturday, the reason for the trip was I went to see Nine Inch Nails at Radio City Music Hall. That was pretty awesome.
Cool.
Pretty awesome. Incredible performance. The venue was gorgeous, as you might imagine.
Well, it's Radio City Music Hall.
Yeah, the sound was excellent.
Well, it's Radio City Music Hall.
So, we had a great time. It turns out my cousin was also going to the show, so we met up in the lobby. And then after the show, we're sitting together, but after the show, we all went out to Duff's Alcohol Abuse Center. It's a bar in Brooklyn. It's a heavy metal bar, which is super, super awesome. It might be my favorite bar ever, actually.
All right.
So floor-to-ceiling heavy metal posters and signed photos and set lists and drum heads and just guitars behind the bar signed by Machine Head and Megadeth. And they have actually, right next to the bar behind glass is one of Peter Steele from Typo Negative's bass guitars. He died in 2010, so it's a very cool, thing that is in this place. So there's a super awesome bar. It's kind of like heavy metal pink. So the lighting is the same. It's very red inside, but just really, really cool. And so this time, I'm not sure if did I bring it up on the show before? I think I have. My New Japan hoodie is a point of conversation quite often. Okay. Well, no one asked me this time if I wrestled for New Japan, but no fewer than 4 people in the bar, and they were not together, mind you.
Yeah.
All gave me the too sweet and proceeded to talk to me about wrestling and New Japan.
Nice.
And if I was going to be in town for X show or Y show, and I was like, not going to be for that, not for that, not for that, but I'll be back here in the spring for the New Japan show at MSG. So maybe I'll see these guys again. But the point is,
who knows?
New Japan brings people together, Carl.
Yes, it
the
does.
point. In a way that I can't quite quantify, but I've seen it. I've seen it happen. Wrestling is magic. So anyway, then Sunday we flew back home fairly early, and I was home, by the mid afternoon, and just kind of hung. I was home just in time for peak Nathan Peterman.
I didn't watch the game. So
Oh, magnificent! Just chef's kiss. Nathan Peterman.
I'm not really watching football this year.
You're missing some good stuff.
I don't care.
It's been fun. Last night was a good little contest for the Packers and the Niners. Aaron Rodgers is inhuman. Just put that out there. He's a master of his craft. Yeah. Oh my God, that guy's just unreal. But back to Nathan Peterman. Apparently, I caught. He had come into the game at some point before I got home. I got home and sat down. I looked at the score. I'm like, oh, the Bills are winning this game. Peterman's playing quarterback.
Wait for it.
Peterman got them points. Oh my God! It. And then, like you knew was going to happen, but you were too scared to say it. But you knew. Peterman with an absolute garbage throw that he never should have made that got returned to a touchdown to seal the deal first to tie the game back for Houston, and then Houston marched again to go ahead, and then Peterman with another crucially inept interception to ice the game for Houston. Oh, it was just magical.
First we had Fitzmagic, now we've got Peterman power.
Nathan Peterman. I'd rather we have Jay Peterman from Seinfeld playing quarterback. I think that would be better. But anyway.
My friend Jim's favorite team is the Kansas City Chiefs, and I see they had a bit of a stumble. I saw a lot of stuff like, who are you going to take, Mahomes or Tom Brady? I'm like, Tom Brady.
No, not anymore.
Because as long as he still has a pulse and medium to higher brain function, I'm taking Tom Brady.
You're not looking for the future, sir, and I'm all in on Mahomes at this point. That kid is fire. Oh, my God. And the Bills could have had him, but they didn't draft him. Yeah. They didn't want to draft him because of the Buffalo Bills. Anyway, that kind of brings us to the here and the now. So, yeah. Hi. What's up? How you doing?
Good. Fairly, not a lot going on. Friday night, obviously, we didn't have game night. So I got to go with my friend Reese, and we played a couple of games of X-Wing. And earlier, I think it was not this past weekend, but the weekend before that, was the first major X-Wing tournament since X-Wing 2.0 came out.
All right.
And when a lot of the articles and whatnot and the previews were coming out for X-Wing 2.0, there's one ship for the Imperials called the TIE Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
I've shown it to you. It's the one that kind of looks like a TIE bomber on crack.
Yeah,
it's got the 4
right
artillery pods. It's just a 1, and it was not a good ship in the last edition of the game. It just didn't. It wasn't good. And I looked at what it could do in this edition of the game, and looked at the 2 name pilots and what their skills are. I'm like, guys, these things are going to be really good. And anytime a conversation was happening and the Imperial faction for 2.0 was being brought, I'm like, Punishers are going to be really good.
So in this version, you might say they've been buffed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, majorly buffed. And sure enough, there was a crap ton of Punisher lists at the tournament. Was called the Coruscant Invitational.
So you weren't exactly ahead of the curve here. Everyone else got the win, too.
Well, I mean, I was kind of saying it before it was confirmed.
Did you roll with one?
Oh no, this is an invitational tournament.
Oh.
You have to earn your way into it,
and it's
in the Fantasy Flight Game Center in Minnesota.
Oh,
so,
God, okay,
yeah.
never mind.
So yeah, and a Punisher list actually won the tournament. So I was like, told you, they're really good. So
now
that was
they're really good.
Yeah, now they're really good. So yeah, I got a couple games of X-Wing with my friend Reese. Saturday. Something was going on Saturday. Julie went to a slow roll. I stayed home with William because now we're kind of in the time of the year where riding around with a 2-year-old on the back of a bike is not the best idea given the weather. She did that. I stayed home with him. And then I can't remember what we did Saturday afternoon. I'm blanking. I don't know. I should have taken notes. I normally do.
Free content.
Yeah. Sunday, a bunch of us in the X-Wing community went up to the new place that opened up, Iron Buffalo, and got some games in there. Had a really good time. Talked to the owner of Iron Buffalo more, and don't be surprised to be hearing more about that place, particularly on the show or potentially live episodes of the show from said location. It's a really cool place.
Fun.
William, the owner, is a really cool guy and just really passionate and eager to build a place and be very welcoming. It's a prime example, and I think we're going to do a show about this relatively soon. It's a prime example of the new breed of comic book shops that are coming around as the old guard. The old style of comic book shop is kind of fading away. And you know what, Drew? If you were to ask me like 7 or 8 years ago, I might have said something different. But I'm 40 years old. You're not too far off from that age either. We both have grown up in the old style of comic book shops. I'm okay with them going away. I think the new breed that we're seeing pop up. Iron Buffalo, Pulp 716.
It all depends on what's replacing it. That's all. So
yeah, I'm kind of okay with this new breed, but that's definitely going to be a topic for a future show.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much it.
All right.
Yeah, not a ton going on. I'm not gonna lie, work is sucking a lot of the life out of me.
We can do that.
I really don't like my new job.
Oh.
The environment's very toxic and the employer is terrible. I really got sold a bill of goods and I bought it hook, line, and sinker.
How long are you going to give this?
Trust me, I'm looking.
Okay.
Yeah. So all right, that was my
Let's hope he
week's.
doesn't listen to the show.
If he does, I don't care.
Wow. All right.
He doesn't, but yeah, I wouldn't care.
Okay. All right. And there's that.
Yeah. So, dear listeners, if you'd like to tell us about your weeks,
And your employment status.
your employment status, or if you're hiring,
Yeah, right.
you can find us on Twitter. Follow us at Devils Do Pod. You can go to facebook.com/Devils Do Pod. Toss our page a like. You can email us at thedevilsdupod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdupodcast.com. Drew, as I'm checking, we don't have any emails this week.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's fine.
What is this crap?
That's yeah, sometimes the people don't want to talk to us. That's fine. We're content to talk ourselves.
I mean, 2 people want to talk to us.
Normally.
I guess not.
But we should not take them for granted.
No, I don't.
And so they're
Hence my outrage almost here.
We did get a comment on the Facebook page today from a listener by the name of Chris Johnson.
Yes, we did.
We're going to address that comment in our news.
Mm-hmm. Which is coming apparently soon.
Which is kind of...
So let's table that to now.
Yeah, I mean, cut to now, since we have no, emails, questions. Let's get to the news. All right, so I've got 3 stories, in case you have anything else.
Okay.
So the first one, Drew, the Iron Fist is not so immortal anymore.
No, he's very mortal.
He's very mortal and very canceled.
Yes. Yes, he is.
In a surprising and yet at the same time not move by Netflix, they announced earlier this week that Iron Fist is in fact canceled, will not receive a 3rd season. All right, let me ask this.
I have not finished season 2, if that's what you're going to ask.
I have not either.
Okay.
Can we sit back and definitively say this is Marvel Studios' first legitimate failure?
No, because I'm raising my hand right now and I'm looking at you and I'm saying,
"You sir in the front row."
Hi, I'm the Inhumans.
Oh yeah! How did I? Well, I know how I forgot Inhumans.
Yeah. We'd all like to forget the Inhumans,
okay.
Carl.
All right, so no, this would be their second legitimate failure.
Yes. Yeah.
It's hard. I'm a little hesitant to call it a failure right now because the character is still in that realm.
They're saying he's going to be around.
Realm. Yeah, they're saying the show's done, but the character is not.
Yeah.
So here's hoping, fingers crossed, that we just get a Heroes for Hire show.
The door is certainly open, and like I said, that episode when he showed up on Luke Cage, I was very happy with.
Yeah,
they have a great dynamic. They work well together. Their banter in Defenders was great, and their banter in the episode of Luke Cage was great. So hey, more of that. And obviously, if you want to go all in with Misty and Colleen as well, and give us some Daughters of the Dragon, all right, this is all working for me. Just combine the 2 shows into one, maybe. Kind of. Or something.
Tales from the Hell's Kitchen or something?
Just call it Heroes for Hire, and you got all 4 of them. I mean, those 4 characters, to be honest, in the comics are often all together in one book.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of a natural fit. Now, I mean, I don't like hearing bad news about Marvel, but at the same time, dude, the show stunk. I'm sorry, but the show was not good.
It wasn't great.
And the season 2 stuff, I have not finished. I spoiled myself. I read about how it ends. Interesting.
Okay.
Could have been something, but it clearly also indicates that Marvel heard the criticism of season 1 and kind of figured out a way to fix it, which I gathered from the first couple episodes of it anyway.
Yeah.
More action heavy.
I'm assuming he's not still in the legitimate suit because I think we would have seen pictures of that.
Probably not. I haven't gotten that far, but that's really not what I was. That's not the spoiler we're looking for.
Yeah. So
something else pretty significant happens.
So, getting to Chris's comment, he said, "Hey guys, I'm really loving your podcast. I'm only 16 episodes in, but I'm trying to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if you could help us Marvel Netflix fans out. There's a petition going around to bring back Iron Fist. I'm not sure how you guys felt about the series. Again, I'm not caught up yet with the podcast. If you feel like it's worthy, maybe you could spread this a little bit. I'd really appreciate it."
About this Iron Fist petition.
He clearly hasn't gotten to the episodes where we just rail against fan petitions in general.
I mean, hey, look, I'm all for. I don't want to get too deep into petitions and whatnot, seeing as I am someone who led a very famous one. But fight the good fight. You do what you want to do. Just don't expect it to change anything. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But be heard. If you want to save the show, by all means, go for it. Again, it's not a matter of it's not possible for that show to be improved, because they kind of did improve it. And there's a lot of fertile ground there to make it something really cool. But it seems like they didn't want to do that, and I don't know why. And could be budget, could be scope, could be tone, I don't know. But, maybe if they did find a way to bring it back, they could do those things in season 3. But I'm going to warn you, it's probably not going to happen. Then again, Netflix has been convinced in the past to bring shows back by fans. I just don't know how many fans are really that passionate about Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Sorry to say. The show just really never did what the other Marvel shows did.
Yeah.
And, that's a bummer. That is a bummer. But it does introduce a lot of interesting questions, though, about Netflix and Disney and the agreement and all of that, though. Like,
where does... Well, I mean, if Netflix is saying that he's still going to be around in our series, I'm still convinced that Disney's just like, you guys can hold on to those, because I don't see Disney really putting that stuff on their streaming service.
You might be right. I mean, I've heard some rumors about the streaming service, and it might be limited to the PG-13 fare.
The family stuff.
Well, let's air quote family, but there's going to be a hard cap on what they're going to allow on that streaming service. And for everything else and Disney owns more adult fare. Yeah. But I think you're going to see that stuff on Hulu, and you're going to see that stuff on Netflix, and they're going to be, the Disney core thing is going to be very Disney. Yeah. So, but it is interesting because, we wonder how long these Netflix shows are going to last. Like, what's to stop? So does that mean we're going to get Daredevil seasons until Netflix decides they don't want it anymore?
I mean,
I guess
possibly.
So. Okay, fine. I mean, because with the Disney streaming service, it was kind of a sort of a specter hanging around. Like, okay, how much longer do we get to spend with these characters on these shows? We don't. It was unclear to me. But with Netflix axing one, while the others continue, I guess it kind of tells me Netflix can just keep optioning them, and okay. So
yeah, I mean, what kind of set Iron Fist apart is that you really never heard from the audience of Iron Fist when the show was put out there. Like when Daredevil was released, you heard like people loving it and everything. Same with Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. You never really heard that with Iron Fist. It just kind of got panned from the beginning.
Well, he's a more obscure character, so there's going to be less fans that are going to be out there to have an opinion, number one. Number two, they just did a bad job.
Yeah.
So
it's just, I mean,
if you couldn't sell him,
I don't think the whole he's an obscure character thing for any character argument really carries a lot of water now, because my counter to that is simply Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, but you said like a fan outcry or a fan reaction.
Yeah.
There really wasn't much, because the fan base for him is very niche.
Yeah, like this show needed to create its own fan base, and it just didn't do that.
Correct.
So yeah, all right. Fare thee well.
Pour one out for Iron Fist.
Pour one out for I'm Danny Rand.
Yeah. I blame the Meachums. I really do. I really do.
Well, we'll see him back.
I don't want to.
I meant Iron Fist.
Oh, okay. Just no more Meachums, please. Please. No more.
Okay, so something we kind of talked about last week got officially confirmed this week. James Gunn has been hired to write Suicide Squad 2. So far, just writing. Drew, I'm calling it right now. He will end up directing this film.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Whatever. I'm okay with it.
It's fine.
You tell me you're not going to want to go see a James Gunn Suicide Squad movie?
Show me who's in it and what. Yeah, I mean, show me the trailer and show me who's in it. He's got a track record. I would have more faith in him doing a movie than what they crapped out the first time. Put it that way.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's probably going to kind of start over fresh. Right off the bat, I'm going to say, I'm not being like grungy old fanboy about this. I don't want Harley Quinn in it.
I'm not saying I do or don't. I'm just thinking how plausible is it that she definitely is in the movie because Harley Quinn is
and I
this
didn't like.
thing.
I've seen Suicide Squad. I didn't mind Margot Robbie's performance of Harley Quinn. Obviously, I wasn't crazy about the aesthetic of the character.
Right.
But like I said, that movie, there's a lot of good characters in that movie. They just happen to be in a terrible movie.
Sounds like a DC film.
Yep.
Yeah, let's see what he does. I don't know. I have to assume he's going to try and like reboot it his way.
Yeah.
So does Deadshot come back? I don't know. Does he just
Will Smith was a pretty cool Deadshot.
Does he wipe the slate and just go, I want my people, my characters, I'm picking the roster, it's my story, yada yada. And how much clout would he have to do that? Probably a lot, I would imagine.
Yeah, at this point he's probably like, I mean, bring back Amanda Waller. She was really good in the film. Bring back the characters. Like, okay, if you're gonna bring back Will Smith as Deadshot, if you must bring back, Harley Quinn, and then just new characters from right out the bat.
All right.
Oh, I forgot something. We're kind of going to stay in the same wheelhouse.
Okay.
So, Drew, I'm not sure if you ever read the comic series, but apparently CBS is developing a Secret Six series.
Another DC series,
Yes.
huh? Okay.
Because
I have not read this.
genre television works so well on networks. We have so much proven... Oh, wait. No, we haven't.
Well, I mean, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s been on for a while.
That's because Disney owns ABC.
Fair enough.
Supergirl started on CBS, got one season, was axed, went over to CW and thrives.
I hate to point at it as an example of, success, but Gotham is still on.
Fox.
It's a network.
Yeah, is it though?
Yeah, it's a network. They have affiliates.
But we're talking about the network that started out like doing The Simpsons. So Fox is kind of like a more prestigious CW.
Wow. Okay. No, you're not
They're
wrong.
This is what Fox is. Fox is CW with football.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Sure.
And The Simpsons.
I mean, I guess they're a little more contemporary than the networks. If that's your point.
They've definitely got a younger audience. Like I don't get this because you've shown that you're not willing to support genre television unless it's getting you huge numbers.
Right.
Which unless you're HBO, genre television is not getting you those huge numbers. Like CW is perfectly fine with the numbers that their DC shows bring in. I mean, obviously they're not the highest rated shows on television, but they bring in enough to justify their existence because CW has that expectation. You're getting an obscure title, and like once again, we've got something. Are they going to put Bane in it? No, because Bane's going to be in this season of Gotham. Yeah, this is the final season of Gotham.
Oh, God. What are they doing over there?
And they said he's going to be in the suit at the end of the show.
Is he going to break a 12-year-old spine? That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, boy. So, but yeah, I mean, I just understand who your audience is.
Well, I guess they're kind of counting, and I was just going to ask you, like, who is the audience? Because, like
if you were to tell me they were developing this as an exclusive for the app, their streaming service,
that'd make all the sense in the world.
I'd be like, okay, fine,
right,
have fun, knock yourselves out. But like, you wouldn't put Star Trek on your channel.
Yeah, right. And what's weird about it is, like, again, coming back to know your audience or whatever, if there's something that people want to see, the audience will go and find it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in theory, those people will go to CBS to watch it. But yet, the network also has like their core demographic. And who are these people that like, I only watch CBS? Like, what?
They're very, very old people.
I don't know. It's all very weird to me. Very, very strange. Television's weird. It's a weird business.
Yeah, it is.
That is an obscure property for a network television show. You'd think they'd want something more surefire. But then again, if you couldn't sell Supergirl, like, how are you going to sell Secret Six?
You couldn't sell a freaking fantastic Supergirl show that was, in its first couple episodes, was everything Man of Steel wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel so bad. I'm totally behind on all the CW shows from last season, and they're just starting up again this season. They're showing now like preview shots of the crossover, which is going to be titled Elseworlds. So yeah, can't wait to see that.
Well, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Weird. I don't know. I got nothing.
Okay. All right, so the last news story that I have is that it was announced earlier this week that Marvel has fired Star Wars writer...
I was wondering if you wanted to talk about this or not. Okay.
Chuck Wendig for, quote, too much vulgarity.
Well, hang on.
Chalk up another one for the MAGA chuds.
Yeah, the MAGA chuds are winning a bit too much for my taste, but... Okay, here's the thing. To be fair to the situation, the dude is very loud and outspoken on Twitter. Okay. Now, granted, I happen to agree with the targets of his ire, in that I agree that he should target. Yeah, and hey, man, join the club. But Disney has to look at it and, well, no, I'm not even going to play devil's advocate. It is kind of stupid, but you know what? If any employer would to see public comments of any kind like that, yelling, screaming, swearing at anyone, it's a bad look. And even if you're right, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a way to go about being right.
Right. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
So, and we can get it back. This can go back into the James Gunn discussion and all that. But again, that was known stuff.
Yeah.
That he publicly
did this guy
made amends
become that all of a sudden when he started working for Marvel? So
no, he was like that before they hired him. So and I just want to point out, and keep this in the back of your mind, because this is on the back of author Chelsea Cain's series, her Vision series, getting canceled by Marvel, and that was a bit of an ugly breakup as well. That happened a few weeks ago. And she's also very outspoken. Well, that's too high profile. It's two incidents of writers being canned from Marvel Comics for, I'm gonna be frank and say, less than noble reasons. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything like nefarious is up over at Marvel Comics, but DC wouldn't have fired her or him. DC wouldn't care.
No.
I know that because a lot of DC creators are very outspoken on Twitter, and they all have jobs. So it's a weird situation because I don't think this is coming from the mouse, to be honest with you. I think this is coming from Ike Perlmutter, to some degree. He's the head of Marvel Comics, folks, and he is a huge Trump supporter.
Yep.
So, sure. Marvel hires a lot of people that are against Trump as well, but I'm sure there's a line in the sand as to how much you can really be outspoken. And if you cross the line, there might be something in the air that just says, yeah, you can't be here. I don't mean for that to sound super conspiratorial. I'm just saying it's a fact.
I don't think you're sounding super conspiratorial. I think you're just saying some unfortunate common sense things. If you look at the facts, it's unfortunate because this is just yet another thing that is kind of tainting comics.
Dude, we have dodged any talk of Comicsgate for the most part on this show, and I want to keep it that way because it's not worth discussing because those people are just they're terrible people. So I just want to point out that it really seems to me that it all seems to come even though the Comicsgate folks will tell you the big two are both guilty, from where I sit, it's really Marvel fans that have their ire up about all of this.
Yeah.
Because, they hate Squirrel Girl. Like, that's the object of their ire. Miss Marvel, the Kamala Khan version.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Miles Morales, the Jane Foster Thor.
Yep.
Marvel Comics have had, these are all, like, cool properties. Honestly. These are good stories, and they're new characters, and they're good. And it's diversifying the lineup, and they've told great stories, and they've been entertaining comics, and they have a very large fan base, by the way.
Yeah.
How do you know? They're putting Miles Morales in an animated Spider-Man movie as the star.
Yeah.
Like, this is all, valid.
Mm-hmm.
And these things have med those people very upset. And I don't know. It's weird.
And I'm hoping that these, those that you're referring to are just the extremely vocal minority.
I think they are. I
and
really
the
believe
majority of the comic fans is just going to be like, okay, you guys go shout about that. I'm going to be over here reading some comics.
I got to be honest. Much like knock on wood. Much like the election of Trump, I really hope and partially believe that this is like a last gasp of a dying breed of people. In Trump's case, it's the last gasp of the boomers who are scared to death of being obsolete in America, in an America that is rapidly changing demographic-wise, belief-wise.
Yep.
And in comics' case, similar, but also, I got to tell you, dude, young people don't consume comics the way you and I do.
No.
Okay?
No, they don't.
So the generation that grew up in the shops that you probably want to see go under, and I understand we'll have the discussion later, but I know the shops you mean. The boys
go under.
Well, you know what I mean. The boys clubs, the misogynistic, dirty den of geek. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Comic book guy shops from The Simpsons. Condescending gatekeeping shops.
Yep.
That kind of fan is going away, dude. And young people, you know where they're reading their Squirrel Girl comics and the Miles Morales comics and all that other stuff I talked about? Bookstores. Honest to God, bookstores. They're getting trade paperbacks. Yep. They're consuming comics in a completely different way than we are.
Yeah.
And there's more of them out there than we know, because they aren't in those shops and they're not taking to social media to complain about perceived slights, because they're too busy enjoying this stuff.
Yeah.
In big numbers, by the way.
And that does my heart warm. Does my heart well.
Same.
Because they're out there and they're fighting the good fight just by not caring. Yeah.
Yeah. Read it, enjoy it.
Yeah, read it, enjoy it, pass it on.
Yeah. Read, enjoy, pass it on. That's how you love comics, man. So anyway, that's a bummer about that guy, but at the same time it's not totally shocking to me.
We feel for him, but at the same time, he kind of did it to himself.
In a way, yeah. It's a weird... It's all very... We live in weird times, man. But to be honest, not to like belittle the situation, but like, he was working on Star Wars comics. I don't care.
Dude, Star Wars comics are good.
They're fine. Whatever. They don't count. I know they do. Right now,
canon.
They are. I know they are. But whatever.
Hey, if it wasn't for the comics, we wouldn't have had BT1 and 000.
Absolutely correct. No, you are absolutely correct. And I do love them so.
They need their own series.
Put them in a movie.
They need to be in a movie.
Put them in a movie.
Now.
Oh.
Okay.
Hey, there's other newsy stuff. Did you see that Watchmen TV show post? The first production still of the show?
Yeah, I saw a guy in a police officer in a yellow sock.
Interesting. I know it's not a lot to go on, but...
I mean, it's... Sure? Like, Alan sent it to us.
It's something to chew on, man.
Alan sent it to us, and he's like, get hype. I'm like, get hype about what? Show me something to get hype about.
It's mysterious, and it's new.
that's fine. I have all the faith that this is going to be something really interesting and really worth exploring. But just from this one image, I'm just like, okay.
I mean, they're not going to give you the blue dong in the first production still, Carl. I'm just going to put that out there. They're going to make you wait for that.
Blue dong. Oh, that's great. No,
you got to build up to that.
Yeah. You had said something, you sent us something earlier today that you kind of shocked me with. You said that the Mega SD is available for
the
pre-order?
Mega SG. The Mega
SG.
Yeah. So I'm a proud owner of the Super NT from this company called Analog.
Super North Tonawanda.
No. No. Yeah, so the Analog Super NT. They also make the Analog NT, which is, these are super, the most accurate enthusiast collector consoles you can buy for Nintendo and Super Nintendo. They play original cartridges. They emulate the original hardware. Not with software. I've talked about this before. Not with software, but with the actual hardware. Its hardware configures itself to mimic the original hardware. So your cartridges don't know that they're being emulated. They think they're actually operating on real hardware, and they output to full-blown HDMI with all of the graphical options you could imagine. You can stretch the screen as much as you want. You could size it perfectly, all the way up to 1080p. It's really, dude, the Super NT is amazing. I love that thing. It's incredible to me. And it is perfect emulation on an HD screen. Love it to death. So, the same company is doing the Mega SG, which is the Sega Genesis equivalent to the Super NT. And a little more in a way, because it also plays Sega Master System games. So
which is cool.
Pre-orders went up, today for $189.
What surprised me is you said you were considering actually getting it. And you've been a staunch anti-Sega person since the moment I knew you.
And I still am. But maybe there's some games I missed out on. And, rather than hunt down a Genesis and then plug it into my television and have it look like crap, maybe this is a way for me to kind of...
I think there are some titles you would quite enjoy.
I'm sure there are. I'm positive there are.
Phantasy Star, Shining Force... The X-Men games.
Those were pretty good. Contra Hard Corps has a lot of fans.
Yep. Streets of Rage.
Sure. I believe there was a Punisher game that never came to Super Nintendo. Just stuff like that.
The original Spider-Man Sega Genesis game.
Didn't play that one.
It was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Trying to think. Yeah, there's some good ones out there.
I'm sure there are. Mortal Kombat, by the way, is not one of them. I want to point that out. I don't care if it has the blood. That game
I
is
still say it's a superior version.
No.
It's got the blood.
Yeah, but it looks and sounds just
still better.
awful.
It's got the blood.
No. Okay.
We've had this discussion about Mortal Kombat. It's
going to be a no for me, dog. But anyway, so that went up for pre-order today. In fact, the minute I got the email and clicked on the link, their website was down. It might still be down. So their products are very sought after by game fans. So I'm sure this is going to find its niche.
Yeah,
real quickly.
So another thing that has been leaking out throughout the week is we're starting to see set photos from the new Spider-Man film.
Yes,
Far
we
From
are.
Home, and we're getting yet another new Spider-Man suit. This one new in the sense of a color scheme that is not without precedent.
No, certainly not.
But probably not something we expected to see. Okay, so
maybe we should have. In hindsight, Marvel likes to. They do like to tweak things.
Leave well enough alone.
Never.
So think of the.
Gotta sell them toys, Carl.
I know. So think of it. Yeah, that brings up another thing we can talk about. So think of the traditional Spider-Man suit. Think of the Spider-Man suit from Civil War and Homecoming and Infinity War. Now just make the blue part black.
That's the most obvious difference. There are others as well.
The spider
gloves,
on the back is white.
Yeah, see, that's where they made a mistake. Also, the gloves aren't there. Just the fingers are the red webbed. The rest is all black. His forearms are entirely black.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'll double check.
Double check that. But yeah, so it's got a little bit of the 90s Ben Reilly look to him. Just a smidge. But, it's cool. It looks cool. In the 90s, Eric Larson, when he was doing Spider-Man, for whatever reason, they changed the blue to black.
Yeah, there was no, story explanation. It was just a color change.
Yeah, and, it's fine. It's, it looks fine. I can't really crap on it. If it were me, obviously, I prefer the red and blues. I think it's a classic look, and Spider-Man's design is something that it's so perfect that, honestly, anytime they try to change it, it just never looks as good as the real thing. It just doesn't make sense to me that they would want to reinvent it all the time. But in this instance, it's like, you know what? It's close enough. The guts of it are the same. It's just black instead of blue. All right, fair enough. It doesn't look bad, so I'm okay with it. You know what? It's not. It's not, and this was blue, and it still looked awful. It's not the suit from the Amazing Spider-Man movie, the first one.
The first one.
That suit was terrible.
That was god awful.
Ugh.
It was really, really bad. I get why they went with a different design, because they had to differentiate themselves from the Raimi films.
But then they went against it in the next movie where they just said, never mind, he's Spider-Man.
Yeah, and it was the suit in Amazing Spider-Man 2 is, to date, the best suit that's appeared on screen.
Yep. This is cool. I like it. It's fine.
I'm fine with the appearance of it, but here's my problem, and this goes back to a couple problems I have with the whole Peter-Tony dynamic. Now, because that relationship is there, now Spidey's got to have a new suit every film, and he just doesn't.
Well, Tony, we don't know. Maybe Tony's not long for this world, for all we know. So we'll see. Look, Cap's had a new suit every movie. Thor's had a new suit every movie. Spidey's gonna get a new suit every movie. It's just how it is, man.
And yet you flip out over the Punisher wearing jeans.
Well, that's just
that's the hill that you wage your war on.
That's correct.
It's these other major changes. It's Punisher wears jeans. No,
can't. No, not doing it. Just not having it. Punisher in jeans is just not allowable. Sorry. It's fine. It looks cool. You know, the thing I don't like about it the most is the white on the back and the white on the front. He's got those little white accents on the legs of the spider on the front, too. Here is the only place you should put white on the Spider-Man costume. The eyes. That's it.
Yep.
Looking at you, video game.
Unless it's the what was it, the Future Foundation or the...
Yeah, but that's a very specific instance.
Well, it was a cool design.
Yeah. Not exactly Spider-Man, but...
So, another thing is I'm scrolling through... I think Alan should get an honorary executive producer credit on the show, because like a lot of the new stuff he sends us actually ends up making on the show.
Producer Alan.
We got a full trailer for Glass.
Oh yeah, I sent that in. That was me.
Oh yeah,
where's my producer credit?
You don't get one.
Oh. Well, I'm on the show.
You want to compare what you send in to what Alan sends in?
Alan does provide a lot of content.
He does.
Thank
you, Alan.
I'm fascinated by this Glass trailer.
Yeah.
It
looks good.
I didn't see Split.
I didn't see Split yet either. I will make a point to watch Split before seeing Glass.
Unbreakable, though, when I saw it, was a cool, heady movie that was a sneaky superhero movie before we really had those.
Yeah.
And this trailer looks very neat in the light, in light of now that we live in a post-Marvel cinematic universe world. There's this other, and DC is flamed out spectacularly. Here's this other weird superhero movie that's just, coming out of left field. It looks really neat.
Yeah. It's looks very promising. We also, let's see what else here. Yeah, also this week we got a preview of the Green Lantern 1 alternate cover by Mr. Frank Quitely.
I wish you were drawing the whole thing, but yeah, that's coming out soon.
Yep.
So
November.
Green Lantern by Grant Morrison. and not by Frank
There
Quitely,
is a preview in the current DC books.
Okay.
This current month DC books. It's
I'm not crapping on the artist that's actually doing the book, by the way. I mean, he's fine.
Yeah.
But Frank Quitely.
All right. So I believe that brings us to the end of the news.
Probably.
I can't think of anything else.
Okay. Well, then that's the end.
All right. So as we mentioned, next week Daredevil is hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we're gonna have to.
Reviews are good.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there. I don't want to set us up to be disappointed, but the reviews are really good.
Yeah. So next week we're probably going to do a first reaction show. We're not going to have our normal Tuesday night recording. I think we're going to get together Friday night, watch the first episode, and give some gut reactions to that. But before then, we have to wrap up Jessica Jones season 2 in a more rapid way that I kind of wanted. I feel in some ways we're shortchanging the show, and I do apologize. If you're a big fan of the show and was looking forward to full treatment, the show is first and foremost a Daredevil show. I say that and I smile because we really need to talk more about Daredevil on the show.
He's here in spirit.
Yeah, he's
always. Here
in spirit. So let us get to our wrap up of Jessica Jones season 2.
Okay.
Now you finished all the episodes.
I knocked them all out.
Which is impressive because you were much busier than I was, and I have not watched any of them. But I watched the series once prior to doing this. So I'm very interested into your reactions.
But look at this. Look.
Oh, we've got the rustling of the papers on Drew's end. It's been so long.
It's been a while. So look at that. Condensed notes for the last 4 episodes.
Wow.
I don't want to. How do we go? Do we want to go episode by episode?
No, let's hit the big points. Let's hit the big story points. The resolution of Jessica's arc with her mother, Trisha's arc with Malcolm, Trisha and Malcolm's arc, and Hogarth's arc.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's a lot there. So let's start with. I guess we'll go in order of importance to the show. Hogarth's arc. Well, that was a big waste of time.
We got Turk out of it.
We did get Turk out of it. Made me smile.
I didn't feel it was a waste of time. I appreciate the fact that they did an arc that didn't necessarily have to do with the main run a show. We've talked about how these shows could use one-off episodes.
Yeah, but this wasn't a one-off episode. This is like a whole...
It was a one-off arc.
Over 13 episodes.
I know.
I mean, and all it did was really establish... All it did was get her to have her own company where she could employ Malcolm, who has a falling out with Jess because Jess is highly unstable. That's all it really did. To employ Malcolm. Okay.
I think it did a little more for the character than that.
I guess so. What did she really? How did she grow? She got taken for a fool by that girl, by that Inez girl, who again I knew where that was going. Well, at least in terms of the relationship to begin with, but I did not see the swerve coming where she was actually swindling Hogarth, and the healer was not actually powered at all. He was a con artist, and she was taken in by it. And so apparently she still does have ALS, and apparently, I don't know, that whole thing was weird, man.
Yeah.
So she's kind of, and also I'm sorry, but Hogarth is kind of a creeper. In the last episode, she's doing yoga with a yoga instructor, and she's eyeing her up. It's okay. Sure. Have you not learned, Hogarth? Maybe just be a normal person for a while instead of whatever it is you're doing over there.
Her definition of normal is vastly different than ours.
Yeah, gotta get that lawyer money. Also, in the last episode, she looks like Ursa from Superman 2.
I'm okay with that.
She's wearing a black outfit, split an image of Ursa. I thought she was going to, at some point, be like, Superman!
Superman!
Anyway.
He's a general.
So the Hogarth arc, yeah, whatever. Like, she didn't really have a direct bearing on Jess's relationship with everyone else, because everyone else is fairly intertwined. So then we get into, I guess, Malcolm and Trish. Now, Trish's arc has been not good, right?
Not good as far as for the character.
Right.
You're not saying
it's it's been the most compelling arc, to me anyway, in the show in season 2.
Bless you.
Excuse me. So, last we checked on Trish, she was making Malcolm take that inhaler, which is kind of jerky. He's a former addict, and so is she.
Yeah.
But so then she runs out of the stuff, and she's in withdrawal, and in withdrawal, she bombs that job interview, that news interview, and at the same time, she is still, after she kind of dries out, she still has this massive inferiority complex next to Jessica.
Yeah.
And despite her being really messed up, she knows that Jess's mom is up to no good and is bad news. And as we find out, before we get to that, in her inferiority, she gets intertwined into Jess's story with her mother and the doctor, and they're in love, and that's really weird because she's a psychopath, and the doctor is in a position of power over her, but they're in love. There's all kinds of wrong.
Oh yeah, I mean
that's so many levels of inappropriate.
I mean, if they were being depicted as the heroes of the show, I might be willing to go with you on that. But they're not being depicted as being normal or an Ozzie and Harriet type couple. That's kind of what their world is right now. And you got, the doctor who falls in love with their patient is not an uncommon tale. And this is just, that tale in a different, stranger setting.
I guess so. But I mean, everything he did was against her will, at least in the beginning. Again, it's just all very creepy and weird. And then they do a sort of pseudo redemption on him, kind of. They try to say, oh, if you could only have worked within the establishment and not been whatever, you could do good. But then again, they don't really steer into that because he has that whole realization when he's working on Trish that he's kind of a monster. And spoilers, Trish gets kind of messed up through experimentation.
She basically goes through the same experimentation that Jess and her mother
did.
The doc's trying to be a better person, but that temptation, which when you think about it, Trish is she tempts an addict to take a substance again, then she tempts a different kind of addict to go back into what they're kind of trying to get away from.
Yeah.
All because she wants powers.
Yeah, because she herself is also an addict. So, to various things. So that, I mean, it's all kind of weird, but that is the most compelling. To me, still, Trish's arc is the most compelling in the whole show. And she does end up with powers, maybe?
We get an inkling of it in that last scene with her.
Yes,
where
we do.
She catches the thing with her foot.
And her relationship with her mom is still, what it is, and I still hate her mother badly.
Yeah. That just shows you how good Rebecca De Mornay is in this.
That's Rebecca De Mornay?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
Dude, you said the same thing last time I said it was Rebecca De Mornay.
I forgot. Oh, my God. Oh.
That performance is so good. You just see the mother, and you're just I
hate her. Oh, how I hate her.
Get away from her.
Oh, man. All right. Well, now I learned something again today. So I guess that brings us back to Jess and her mother. And I'm just gonna put it out there. I really did not like where all that went, and I really don't like her mother.
Yeah,
this is not the direction I would have went with this show.
The show was going strong as a noir detective story
for the first few episodes,
and then
once
when
that mother revelation
decided
happened,
to turn into a fantasy family drama, I think, is where it lost a lot of steam.
To be clear, the family dynamic has always been there, but this thing with her mother, like, is not subtle. It's like it's at the forefront.
Yeah,
and you know, I don't know, and I don't like her mother. Okay, and Jess is too smart to be this taken by it all, in my opinion. She's emotionally tied up in it, and that can cloud your better judgment, to be fair. But she has seen what this woman is capable of. She knows how deadly and dangerous she is, and she also, in speaking to her, knows that it's not really the mother she remembers.
All true. Your points are all valid, but being someone who has lost a parent and, you know, to be able to get someone back who was so pivotal to you, who you thought was dead.
Yes,
you get them back,
but it's you get them back, but especially after you learn how much hurt they've caused you. Oh, by the way, I killed your ex-fiance. Oh, by the way, I killed these other people. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna, assault you continuously. Like,
I get it. You're not wrong, but at the same time, getting someone like that back, who you never thought you would have back, that's hard, man.
Okay, at the very least, it gets to the point where Jess is smart enough to realize what a danger she is.
Yeah, it gets Jess eventually.
So Jess goes and meets her and has a gun, and she's going to kill her because she knows she has to. And Trish even says, I should go because you won't do it because I can take the shot and you can't.
Yeah.
Proves to be right. So even after Jess hesitates, which, by the way, she shouldn't have hesitated, don't have a conversation with her. Just shoot her. It's like Austin Powers. What are you feeding him? Just shoot him.
I got a gun in my room.
Right. Scott, you just don't get it. Anyway, so she has a little power with her, hesitates, and then gets kidnapped by her. Like, the first thing she should do when she wakes up is realize how stupid she was and kill her. But she doesn't. She doubles down in helping her at that point. She commits. Yeah. She commits to the escape. We're going to run off together. At that point, really? All right. And then we get the pseudo redemption arc with the mother, where, like, they save that family. It's like, maybe mom's not that bad. But then mom has after everything that she's done and tried to escape, and she's with her daughter, then she has the moment of clarity where she's probably going to off herself. At least that's the implication, right? She was going to kill herself to spare Jess. But then Trish spares us all of that and does the only sensible thing in the whole season and shoots her mother in the head. Not Rebecca De Mornay.
Yeah.
Jess's mother.
Yeah. Not Aunt Jackie.
Yeah, not Aunt Jackie. That's correct. And then that obviously severs or severely complicates the relationship with Jess and Trish. There's a lot there. A lot there.
Malcolm goes to work for Chang.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't blame him.
No, Jess has basically... Here's the thing. She was so... And she even says it kind of in the show. Like, she got so blinded by the family that she lost, that she threw away the family that she had.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that sucks. That's stupid.
Yep.
You done goofed.
I think where the season ends is in a good place. It makes me really interested to see what they would do with the season 3. How does Jess go about mending those fences? Does she want to mend the fences? Things like that. But obviously the path there could have been a little better. Like, I really felt if they just kind of kept it again, that noir detective story.
Yeah.
I think overall the season was good. Wasn't great. I think more good episodes than bad episodes.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Again, the Trish story was the one I was mainly invested in because I just thought that was actually handled really well. But the thing with Jess and her mom, I just it got annoying because it just defied a lot of sense in my opinion. It went on. I don't know. It's just not the direction I would have gone. And then the prison stuff. Of course, there's a nasty, corrupt jerk guard because this is a TV show and we have to have that.
Yeah, that was something that could have been done without.
And then, by the way, Jess kills the guy. And then has to clean it up.
Just killed the guy with the trident.
And then we get a little Kilgrave guest appearance out of it. But, Jessica's in her head anyway.
Which is welcomed.
Sure. But it's like at that point, Jess, you kill a guy. You're covering up a murder you committed. Maybe this is not the best person to be, hanging your hat, or hitching your wagon to, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, strikes and gutters, ups and downs.
Has Jess ever been one to learn lessons?
No.
Easily.
And,
if at all.
As much as we had the heel turn now, and then the face turn of the landlord.
Yeah.
Who Jess seems to be with now.
I like his character.
It's all well and good.
Just seems like a good dude.
That's fine. You know who he's not, though? Luke Cage.
I know. I don't think we're going to see that.
I know.
Anytime soon. And I'm okay with it.
I guess so.
Who knows?
I mean,
who knows?
It's it's a thing.
I mean, clearly Claire's out of the picture.
Yeah.
In more ways than one, because we haven't heard anything about Rosario Dawson.
I think she's gone.
I haven't heard anything about her in season 3 of Daredevil.
Seems like a big. I mean, she had a good run.
She had a good run. She was the connective thread. It looks like that role might be shifting to Misty now.
Okay.
Which, sure.
Okay. Fine.
So yeah, that is Jessica Jones season 2. If you had to grade it,
C plus.
If
B minus.
If Daredevil's the apex and Iron Fist is the valley, where is Jessica?
Somewhere in the middle, below Luke Cage. To me.
Yeah, I put it above Iron Fist and Defenders.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
I'd probably put it on par with Luke Cage.
Oh, I like Luke Cage. I think Luke. You know what I like a lot about Luke Cage? Even if the episodes aren't necessarily all great, they're generally pretty good, and they really have Luke Cage has a unique tone. That show has a style and a tone of its own. Yeah. It is very. I mean, the way they do musical stuff in it, and just its look and feel. Luke Cage is very distinct, and I appreciate that about it. Even if it doesn't nail everything all the time, it still is Luke Cage. Yeah, Jessica Jones is a show. Does that make sense?
I think it's tough to kind of convey that with Jessica because she's not a traditional superhero. Her powers don't get put on display.
Oh, I'm just talking
very much
as a show, like as a like Breaking Bad has a feel, and similarly, Better Call Saul has a feel. Luke Cage has a feel. It doesn't feel like just a show.
Yeah.
It's Luke Cage. I know it when I see it. I know it when I hear it. I know it when it's on. It just has a vibe.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones to me is just a show.
Okay, I can get that. All right, folks, that about does it for this week. Next week, we're back to our Daredevil roots.
Can't wait. Excited. Very
excited. All right, folks, if you would like to communicate with the show, send us any comments or questions to be read on the show, you can do so at the following locations. You can follow us on Devil's Due Pod on Twitter. You can go to facebook.com/Devil's Due Pod. Toss our page a like. You can email us at thedevilsdupod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdupodcast.com. Drew, any closing thoughts?
Let us get to the Daredevil,
Yes.
sir. I'm ready.
Yes.
I am quite ready. It's been a while.
Yes.
And I like what I've seen so far. So
yes.
let us do this thing.
He's in the white suit.
Bullseye, sir. Bullseye.
He's in the white suit.
He's got a closet full of them.
Yeah.
I hope to reach the point in my life where I have a closet of one wardrobe. One for every
So in
day.
other words, you want to be Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. Is that what you're telling me? Or Fred Flintstone?
Or in this case,
Wilson
the Kingpin.
Fisk.
Or Batman.
Or Batman.
Closet full of bat suits. All the same.
Yeah. Alrighty, folks. Thanks for joining us. Court is adjourned.